What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we're here for AEW on TNT Reveiw for December the 23rd, 2020. By the time you see this, it'll be Christmas Eve night, or morning, like early morning, because AEW was going on after the Boston Celtics and Milwaukee Bucks game, so they started at like 10:07. We started off with Chris Jericho and MJF for the Inner Circle with Jake Hager versus Top Flight. And Top Flight decided they wanted to be social justice warriors tonight by supporting the racist hate group Black Lives Matter. Hey, well, they are in their 20s, so you know they're dumb and stupid, just saying. But, yeah, this match here, of course, this is the AEW doing everything they can to test the waters with Top Flight. You don't expect them to win these matches right now. They are on the opposite side of being the teams to be built up. You don't want Inner Circle to be losing at this time, especially after, 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, they did the Inner Circle ultimatum, where the Inner Circle is either going to stay together or break up, and they decided to stay together. But Top Flight did give Jericho and MJF all they could handle, but the X Factor, of course, was Jake Hager. As while the referee is distracted, you have Hager pulls Darius down before he can springboard, setting up AJF for the Heat Seeker as he hits it, and the Inner Circle gets the win. After the match, Hager, for some reason, gets the microphone and says he thanks Top Flight before commentating on how everyone in the Inner Circle has done their jobs, except for one. Where's Warlow? Where is this big man at? It pisses me off that we're all here doing our job because we know he's away because of family business, saying this is family business. He understands Warlow is an asset, but he's an asshole. He talked to Tony Khan before coming out here, and next week, on night 1 of New Year's Bash, it'll be Warlow versus Jake Hager. This is a match, of course, a lot of people have been wanting to see. I'm 50-50 on it because just the limitations that both Warlow and Jake Hager can have. I mean, it's going to be a hoss fight. Who doesn't love themselves a good old-fashioned hoss fight? And hopefully it will be good. We'll see what they do with that, but that is next week. Warlow versus Jake Hager. So, looking forward to seeing what actually happens. Is it going to be a good match? Is it going to be a mad match? We don't know until next week. So we go from that to the Acclaimed sending us a music video, Max Caster rapping about how they're going to beat the Young Bucks and make them the young ones. Okay. Tony Schiavone is in the ring and welcomes Sting as an in-ring interview because... Okay, so Sting made his debut in AEW at when it was coming. And that was what? Beginning of the month? That was the second, right? So that was 3 weeks ago. Sting has come out and stopped Taz and them twice from doing anything. And when he talked to Cody, 2 weeks ago, saying he's not here for him, he's pointing up to Darby, just not telling us anything. Then last week came out and did nothing but show up for about 2 seconds. Tonight, he comes in for an interview. And I'm just like, okay, so what is Sting going to be doing? Because you can't just have Sting continue to come out week in and week out and do mostly nothing. The nostalgia of Sting coming out is going to wear thin very, very fast. It's already wearing on me, just saying. So he reiterates that he knows he has come full circle. He shows his enthusiasm back in the jungle. And he says he was a big part of the original jungle, making it what it was. But he's glad the jungle is still around. And he's glad that he can be a part of it. Schiavone points out to Darby, who is standing in the rafters, and asking about Sting's plans. Sting notes that that's a deep question, he says. He goes back in time and recalls when he needed a break. He talks about when he went one-on-one with one of the greatest of all time, Dusty Rhodes, as the Dusty chants break out. He does a very good Dusty impression, because if you are somebody who actually spent time with Dusty, you have the right to do a Dusty Rhodes impression when you're talking about the man. And it's kind of like something you would do in the world of professional wrestling. Paige has done it before. All these other talents that I can't think of off the top of my head have done one before. It's just like Triple H has done one. Kevin Owens, I believe, has done one. Shawn Michaels, everybody. If you're somebody who worked with Dusty, that you're going to expect them when they're talking about Dusty Rhodes and using his words, they're going to try and use his voice. And it's real. He did a spot on. But he remembers him telling him, we're going to put some face paint on, put some color on your face before he would go on to face Ric Flair. He noticed that how going to face-to-face with Cody in AEW was something he wanted to be a part of. It's good to be home and to tell him about to tell Darby something, but out comes Team Taz, and Taz is getting ticked off about Sting always being in their business. He doesn't care what his business is with Cody or his business is with Darby, but he's pissed off that every time they turn around, Sting is there to ruin their fun. So, Ricky and Taz threaten Sting about heading into the jungle and are about to attack Sting until the lights go out. And lights come back on, and Darby appears in the ring with his skateboard and the TNT title off to the side. Now, granted, this was taped on Thursday. Just like the Alexis Playground on Monday, where it was like the lights went down, lights came back up instant, and there was a swing set and a horse and Alexa Bliss and a bunch of other things in the ring. There was no fucking way that Darby Allin was going to be able to get from the rafters down, or the higher up in Daly's place, down to the ring, get his skateboard, and stand side by side with Sting in like half a second. Just ain't possible. Taz says, you know what? You got your bat. He's got his bat. Darby, you got your skateboard. We'll take the high road, and we'll see you later, Darby. That later is going to be on January 6th, New Year's Bash Part 2. Darby Allin will put that TNT Championship on the line against Brian Cage. And that was that. Brian Cage is like, what if I don't want to wait? I'm ready to go right now. Let's get this going. Taz is like, no. We got this. You're going to have your title shot on the 6th. And they leave. Sting and Darby stare at each other face to face. And I don't know what we're going to see from that. We'll have to wait and see. MJF's backstage, and before he goes in to talk to Santana Ortiz, he talks to the cameraman and is like, listen, I'm not having you here to... listen, cameraman, I'm not bringing you here to show what a good person I am. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. So he walks into Santana Ortiz. He talks about Santana. It's like, man, I know you lost somebody really important to you recently. And I just want to let you know that I know what you're feeling because I lost somebody important too. I lost my grandfather, a very important person in my life. And Santana gets up. They slap hands. They, shake. Or they do, shake. He tells him to always keep his head up. And he says MJF to always keep his head up. Ortiz and MJF shake hands, and the cameras show an emotional MJF. Who, as soon as they leave, the emotion seems to disappear, and I'm thinking, that lying motherfucker, that lying snake in the grass, he is lying through his teeth to gain favor with Santana and Ortiz. So, yeah. MJF is definitely there to break up the inner circle, but do it on his terms, not Jericho's. See, Jericho was at the ultimatum was going to break up the inner circle, and that would have been too easy. And that's not what MJF wants. He wants to know that when this is all said and done, he can go out there in front of the AEW crowd and it's like, I'm the one who broke up the inner circle. I'm the one who destroyed this group from the inside out. That is what we're going towards. So, Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt versus Dark Order, Colt Cabana, and Dark Order members 5 and 10. This was an okay match. Nothing bad. Nothing special here. Decent work between everybody. I still don't know what they're doing with Colt Cabana when it comes to Dark Order. I mean, the last time he came out here when he wasn't wrestling, the dude looked like a fucking gym teacher. He literally looked like a gym teacher. It was kind of funny. But things go crazy, and Colt Cabana gets knocked out with 10 as Marco Stunt gets thrown into them, leading to the powerbomb combo from Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy for the win. After the match, Shivani goes in the ring to interview them. And before Stunt can get a sentence in, a video plays of FTR and Tully Blanchard. Blanchard talks about FTR being the tag team of the year. I would hold off on that. He calls Jurassic Express Jurassic Park. He calls them out, which I'm pretty sure Tully Blanchard's not the first person and the only person to ever call that Jurassic Park. He calls them out for a match on January 6th to give them the time to prepare as they are chomping at the bit to get the tag team titles back. He says dinosaurs aren't going to take them down, and then tells Stunt, Marco, if you get involved, I may have to have a flashback to the 80s. So Marco gets very pissed off. He's trying to run out of the ring to go after these guys. Clearly gets a taped video. It's not something that was live. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus doing everything they do to keep this guy, calm him down and hold him back. And that was that. Alex Musvez tries to interview Don Callis and AEW champion, world champion Kenny Omega at the hotel. Callis wonders how Tony Khan has the wrestlers running things. He says, they don't get dictated by the talent. Omega notes that Faye Phoenix choked at the opportunities for the tag titles, the AAA title, and the title eliminator. He threatened to put Phoenix out for good and says he has friends in Impact Wrestling that would take him back. Callis brings up maybe Conan would take him back. And how he would take him back. Omega reiterates his threat towards Phoenix. Now, we get into our next match, Pac with Penta versus The Butcher, with Eddie Kingston, the Blade, and the Bunny. And Tony Schiavone was right to mention that he didn't choke in the Eliminator. He had a badass match with his brother, and due to a neck injury, AEW and of course Eddie Kingston and kayfabe talked him into giving the title, the match against Kenny Omega, to Pentagon, and that's why the match is happening next week. Yeah, next week. Next week is that title match. So we have Pac versus The Butcher, and what the fuck was The Butcher wearing? He was wearing, and honestly looked like he raided Rikishi's gear from back in his Sultan days and was wearing the pants that Rikishi was wearing when Rikishi was the Sultan. So this was another hard-hitting match. The Butcher and the Blade, on top of that, are not going to go into a match against Pac and just, slap lightly or something. These guys are going to go out there and give hands. Pac, of course, has got a neck injury. He had tape on his neck. So that played a factor into this. So Pac is getting the best of the Butcher. And, of course, Eddie Kingston gets up. He's pissed off. He wants something. He's going to come out there and do something. Out comes Lance Archer to confront Kingston. The Butcher is distracted, allowing Pac to tag him with a roundhouse kick. Goes up, hits the Black Arrow for the pin and the win. Archer and Kingston are jawing back and forth as Kingston hides behind commentary. Archer goes in the ring. Pac goes face to face with Pac, talking about their own desires to take on Kingston as Kingston trash talks on commentary. So I don't know what's going to happen. Who's going to go after Pac? Who's going to get Kingston first? But Eddie Kingston's time against these guys is not over yet. See, the AEW is doing two similar storylines, where you have Dustin going up against members of the Dark Order, beating them, while going through every member of the Dark Order, trying to take them out. At the same time, Pac is going through Kingston's family to get to Eddie Kingston. By the way, Brody Lee, where is he at? I know he's got a neck. I think he has a foot injury or an ankle injury or something. I know he can't wrestle and everything, but the dude should at least be on TV, at least in video form or something, so we know what's going on, and he should be running the Dark Order. Then we go backstage to Jade Cargill, congratulating Brandy as a fellow mother on her recent pregnancy. She calls out Brandy, asks for an opponent worth of her time, and I'm thinking, you haven't done anything. You've been wasting our fucking time. You've been shown on TV for at least a month now, and you haven't done anything. Why should I take you seriously? Shivani is with Kip Sabian, Penelope Ford, Miro. Miro is mad that Shivani isn't showing his happiness over Sabian and Ford's wedding. Sabian says this is the first wedding on TNT, and he says this is not only a big deal for the talent and people backstage, but also the fans because of how big this is for you insignificant lives. He's about to announce the wedding date until the Best Friends music plays. However, it's a ruse. It plays for a bit, but they start laughing. They show footage of Trent badly hurt being placed in an ambulance with Chucky T and Orange going in with him. Samian says it's a shame they can't be there and announces it will be a beach wedding on February 3rd at Beach Break as Miro expresses excitement and Ford and Sabian kiss. So, what is Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends going to do to screw up their wedding? That is a good question. I don't know. Oh, I know Impact Wrestling's had weddings before. Everyone remember ODB and Eric Young's wedding. That actually went off, even though they were in their underwear. That was terrible. But WWE is the ones that usually have weddings, and you know how that goes. Other than Elizabeth and Macho Man, even though it was the reception where things got bad. Weddings outside of that one, the match made in heaven, have always ended badly. From Daniel Bryan and AJ Lee to Kane and Lita, Vicky, and Edge, and so on and so forth. Will we see something with Orange Cassidy? I saw a suggestion or heard a suggestion that maybe they take there's also Test and Stephanie's, which you know how that turned out. But maybe Orange Cassidy ties the knot, unbeknownst to Penelope Ford, before the wedding. And yeah, I could see something stupid like that happening. Evil Uno versus Dustin. Lee Johnson's out with Dustin. Stu Grayson's out with Evil Uno. This was a short match. This was a decent match. Nothing special here. Uno catches Dustin with a spinning heel kick. Dustin evades Uno and hits a running bulldog to get the win. After the match, Uno still tries to recruit Dustin, offering his hand. Dustin fakes the handshake and takes out Uno, but Grayson comes in and takes out Dustin and Johnson. Grayson hits Nightfall, and QT Marshall comes running in, but Dark Order take him out. Johnson springboards in and takes out Dark Order with the double drop kick to be standing. Now, Tony Schiavone did elaborate on commentary why Dustin does not like the number 7, and why 7 was a bad idea. Because, yes, I think I mentioned this before, Dustin, back in, 1999, was dressed up in a black leather suit, or a black suit, like you see him wear now, sort of. But it was all black, a black leather coat, a black top hat, and white paint over his entire head. And he was called 7. He was brought to the ring on wires, just glided to the ring on wires, rose up over the ring ropes, and came into the ring. And the first thing he did was take the mic and say, "Take a long, good look at this, because it's the last time you're going to see it." And he ripped that character to shreds. And just was the natural nightmare Dustin Rhodes after that. Schiavone was backstage with Shawn Spears. He says he's more talented than anyone in the world, and says his confidence is high. If the 3 letters change, it doesn't matter. You can change the letters, but you can't change the glass ceiling, especially not for him. He called Schiavone a piece of shit for saying that the common denominator is Spears, and it's Spears' fault. He wants management to know that he'll come back when he feels like it. So I don't know what's going on with Shawn Spears, but obviously he's pissed off that he left WWE. He asked for his release. He left WWE last year, signed with AEW. His biggest match, the biggest peak of his entire run in this company, was smashing that chair over Cody's head and then having that match with Cody. That was it. After that, he just went down the card, hasn't done a damn thing except win a couple matches on Dark. He comes to TNT and gets beat. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't sniffed a championship opportunity. He hasn't done anything of importance. He's not in any big storylines. After his loss to Cody, he has just been downhill. Which is, again, why I think Cody should have lost that match. Because Cody's Teflon. Cody could have lost to Shawn Spears. It would have helped Shawn Spears. And it could have kept the feud alive for a little bit longer. But no, they said we're going to have Cody win. And they went off from there. Dasha was with Hikari Shida, but Abadon and comes in and attacks Shida. Shida is instructed to go for her match. And then we have Hikari Shida versus Alex and Gracia. This is basically Hikari Shida beating up on Gracia. Gracia getting almost no offense in. Abadon shows up outside, and Shida takes herself out of the match for a minute to go attack Abadon. Taking her down, she avoids the 10 count, which would have been interesting to have Alex Garcia win by countout. But, yeah. But she comes in, she stuns Gracia, and she hits the Falcon Arrow for the 1, 2, 3. Okay, that was fun. Then, Hikari Shida grabs her kendo stick, takes it out to Abadon, pokes her with it. Abadon comes up, hits her, attacks her, and then does the dumbest fucking shit ever. She's gotta be evil, she's gotta be creepy, so we gotta have her bite Hikari Shida in the neck. You know, the same thing Shayna Baszler did to Becky Lynch in February. We have to have Hikari Shida get bit by Abadon. Why? You didn't have to do the bite sequence. You could have just had her lay out Shida, and then you get the match next week anyway. The biting didn't need to happen. It's fucking stupid. We know it's fake fucking blood. We know it's not a real fucking bite. It's just so piss poor right there. It's not even funny. I mean, oh, she's not human, so we have to have her get bit. And it's like, come the fuck on. This isn't... If this would have happened back in the 90s, I could buy it. Maybe even the 80s. Maybe even the early 2000s. But 2020, somebody getting bit on the... getting bit, in quotation marks, doesn't fly in 2020. Before the match, Matt Caster drops... We get to the main event. And we have... the AEW World Tag Team titles, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson versus the Acclaimed, Anthony Bowen and Max Caster. Now, I still want to know this. The Acclaimed have 7 wins in a row. I get that. The biggest one they had was SCU last week. But they were the 5th ranked team going into this match. 5th ranked team. Why are they getting a title shot? AEW, from day one, said every win is going to matter. Every loss is going to matter. Yes, going 8-0 is fine, and I know it's a big deal, but you haven't faced anybody but SCU. Everyone else has been jobbers or people off the indie scene who aren't signed by AEW. Why should we give a fuck about who you've beaten? You haven't beaten anybody. So to have them go out there and get a title shot when Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are going out there and kicking ass, taking names, and you have all these other teams out there who have a much more deserving should have a much more deserving shot than them. It just undermines and diminishes the entirety of your ranking system if anybody can get a title shot. Oh, you're number 5. Oh, there you go. You get a title shot. No, you should be the number 1 contender. Period. End of story. I don't care. Was it a good match? Yes. Max Caster and Anthony Bones did everything they could to take on the Young Bucks. Young Bucks, of course, are just way too good for these guys. And even though Bryce Rensburg got taken out, you knew the referee spot was going to come in this match. Bryce Rensburg has been asking to get knocked out. I'm sorry, it's just... He is so bad at being the referee for these type of matches. You knew it was going to come eventually. So they low blow Nick, I believe it is. Yeah. They low blow Nick, hit him with the boombox. In comes another referee. And, was it Rick Knox? That was Rick Knox, not Bryce Rensburg, Rick Knox. That's right, Rick Knox, not Bryce Rensburg. But yeah, another referee comes out, 1-2 kick out. Acclaim's trying to set up Nick, but Bowens is met with a super kick. Matt powerbombs him through the table. Caster eats his BTE trigger and the win, and that is that. And the show goes off the air with nothing happening from Impact Wrestling and nobody else. The show goes off the air, everybody goes home happy. Merry fucking Christmas from AEW. This was it was a good show. It was definitely a bounce back from last week. I think last week's show was absolutely atrociously bad. It was definitely not on AEW's level. This one was definitely a bounce back show, 100%. But that is AEW in a nutshell. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The France Club. And find me on Parler at The France Club. Find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, Friday, for AEW, for SmackDown Christmas edition. Until then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.